Keep your chin up, eyes closed, facing to the sky as the source of infinite intelligence and love. Let's chant 5 Ohms together. So whenever you listen, if you practice on your own, just do it. It will create a positive environment in your house itself to wade away the virus. The Om has the power. So breathe in. Nice. Bring back both the palms together. Now let's pray for the universal protection. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we seek the protection of the Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Mother Universe. May we seek the protection. May there be no discord, no disharmony among each other. And may this wellness satsang be fruitful and enlightening. May there be peace. You know, when we chant the Om sound, I've been testing this with thousands of people who come to our center. As a practice, we take a baseline test. A baseline test of how is your breath. So we do some breath count. So about 5 or 6 parameters that we study, whether the person's when the breathing happening in breath, whether the tummy is coming out or going inside, and what is the duration of the inhalation, what is the duration of exhalation, whether the person is conscious about the breath or not. So there are so many parameters which are very important to understand how the person is doing the breath primarily, and also harnessing the prana shakti or the life force. So one of the points that I check always is how much of duration you can extend when you chant an Om sound. So you don't have to do it now. So after this talk, you can practice on your own. You just take a stopwatch and then take a breath and then try to extend this Om sound as long as possible. And then at the same time, just measure the time. I won't give the number actually. Like you give me your comment. Like if it's less than some number, I will tell you what to do. I'll give you my analysis. I'll just keep it a riddle. So everybody whoever is interested to learn about the tricks of the Om breathing and how it can help you, I'll give you my special note one-on-one. So just do a simple experiment, do an Om sound and measure the time in seconds. Of course, it won't be in minutes. So in seconds, give me the timing and just send me a private message. And I'll connect to you. If I have the opportunity, I would love to spend some time with you individually so that you can learn the art of proper breathing, where you can harness the prana shakti more and more. And also I would like to introduce a course that I have been practicing for over 10 years right now, the Prana Shakti Mahavidya, which is a very powerful technique, of which I have been suggesting Prana Shakti meditation right now. So from next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday, I would like to propose an online course, Prana Shakti Level 1, which is a very, very powerful technique. Putting it all together, whatever I have been talking about, it can be all merged together to a wonderful practice for 15-20 minutes every day. And you can do it on top of everything. Like you do this Prana Shakti invocation and then do your meditation, do your breathing techniques, do your yoga abhyas, do your Bhagavad Gita part, whatever you do, it will amplify that. It will bring out more power. But if you're interested on those topics, please let me know. So friends, yesterday we talked about the power of truth. You know, we don't know what is the truth of even coronavirus. Whether it started from slaughtering of those wild animals in the city of Wuhan in China, or it started someone who drank the bat soup, or it's a biological warfare, like now the military labs are doing this bioengineering of the viruses to infect a designed group of population. You know, you never know. Or maybe because of the 5G internet network that is being built with so many satellites over the planet Earth, which is interfering with the cosmic vibrations coming. We never know what is the truth of that. So over a period of time, I believe the truth will be revealed. So irrespective of the truth, if we try to introspect the truth, if you try to have a desire or a curiosity among our mind and heart about knowing the truth in a global way, I believe that the process of revealing the truth by the nature will be much more expedited. That means, like, if all of us, we would like to eagerly know what is the truth, why this pandemic happened. Of course, we are doing it, but some time of our practice, just like when we do the safety practice, it's just a simple thought in our mind, what exactly could have triggered this one? When you do that, don't think about all the things that you've already known about it. Because sometimes our mind plays a trick, and many times actually, the mind plays a trick of exaggerating information, and sometimes it's actually very limited. If you go deeper and deeper into the science of yoga, what I teach, yogic psychology, the mind has got a lot of limitations in its functions. Although it can over-encompass the whole universe in a fraction of a second, it has got power, but it can be also misusing the power that is given. So it has to be controlled. That's what the whole yoga concept is all about. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, controlling of the mind, controlling of the senses. What the Devas interpreted the Brahma's da into damyatam. So the damyatam means self-control. If we don't have that self-control, if the mind doesn't control the sense organs. So tomorrow possibly I'll talk about the story of Nachiketa, and I'll talk about the concept of this beautiful cart that is analogous to our life. It's a very, very beautiful imagery. If you understand the concept of that, it will help us to control our sense organs, our mind. So if we become curious about finding out the truth of anything and everything that you know, by spending a higher quality of mind, not a surface level mind which tends to either bias with somebody or something, or try to outrightly reject it. So something like that, this end or that end. A higher quality of mind which can go deeper to investigate based on our first-hand subjective experience, not just the second-hand WhatsApp information or the third-hand scientific information, but first-hand subjective experience is very much essential to go deep within, because we are all connected to the same source. But when you have to go deep within, we take some time to find out the truth. That earnest desire has to happen. So let's all keep that open request for the universe to reveal us the truth of coronavirus as soon as possible, so that if it's not that dangerous, maybe the fear aspect or the panic aspect of it is killing more people than the potential virus itself, maybe the whole world will come out of the grip of the coronavirus much faster. So whatever the truth could be, if it's be revealed, then we can definitely benefit. So today I will talk about what is the possibility of that human global harmony. In yoga, we always talk about this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is a wonderful concept. That means the whole world is one family. Kutumba. Kutumba means family. Is it possible? If you look at in a single family itself, we know about the Saas Bahu Ki Kahani, all those things. We have difficulties in living together. And I guess that is the biggest challenge right now. So human beings are not designed to be quarantined like this. We have quarantined other animals in the cages of circus and other zoos and other places, but we have never seen human beings being confined like this. So it's a new thing for us, and if it goes beyond a limit, I think everybody would revolt. It's very, very difficult thing to live together in a clustered home with everybody looking at each other. Unless we are monks, it will be extremely difficult to, 24 hours just watching each other's eyes and dealing with the children, dealing with the spouses, dealing with the in-laws and outlaws. It will be very tough. So I hope this situation doesn't last for more than 1 or 2 weeks, hopefully, but the uncertainties are expanding day by day. So let's talk about the possibilities. The human minds are always outward looking. There is always me-centricness. Always we think about me, what's there for me, what's there for me. Me, myself, I, This is a very, very egocentric world that we live in. And we are responsible for that. And I have already talked about the mind plays this trick all the time. This is the game that we are playing, but we forget that we are playing the game, and we actually become more serious about this, and that causes a lot of stress and worries in our life. If you take it as a game, it will have been wonderful, but we don't take it as a game. We take it very seriously. We feel that, I'm separated from everything. Although the universal concept is we are a part of the universe. But we are not apart from the universe. We always think that I want to be exclusive. That exclusivity kills us. And yoga fortunately talks about, you are exclusive in a way because the nature has designed you in a very unique way. But at the same time, you have to also practice inclusiveness. And that is where this concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam comes. Even though I am separate, I have got my own identity, just like in a family. We are 3 brothers and 5 sisters. Each one of us have got, different attributes. But coming from my experience, I have seen that if a mother in a family is of good nature, truthful, honest, loving, kind, compassionate. I know most of the mothers are, but sometimes mothers play different roles. So if the mother's love is very binding, the family stay together. Like whenever you see a very good-natured, angelic mother in any family, the families have a tendency of staying together for a longer time. There is less battle between brothers, sisters and sisters, less rivalry in between siblings, and the family stays for longer. And that is probably one of the way that why we talk so much about mother's love. We talk about Mother Nature, we talk about Mother Earth, we talk about Mother Universe. All this mother, because mother have a special quality to sustain life, to protect her children. That's why the universe has chosen the female species to be a mother who can, protect the child. That is why the universe is much more interested to sustain the female gender in any species, in any kingdom, animal kingdom, more than the male species. There are a lot of differences between the female biology and then the male biology. Female, emotional intelligence versus the male emotional intelligence. Not just the human beings, but in every species there is a difference, there is a subtle difference. They say men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So there are a lot of possibilities that we can inculcate this motherly nature as a global phenomena by appreciating the fact that mothers have special qualities of love, compassion, kindness, affection, potentially to enhance the possibility of a global harmony. And that is why in the yoga tradition also, when we do this prayer, Pranashedam Vase Sarvam Tridive Yat Pratishtitam Mateva Putrancha Rakhyasva Shrischa Pragyascha Videhi Nadehi. That means in all 3 worlds, whatever that you can imagine in this universe, one thing, it controls everything, is the prana. Pranashedam Vase Sarvam. Everywhere, what is established is the prana or the universal life force. So Pranashedam Vase Sarvam Tridive Yat Pratishtitam Mateva Putrancha Rakhyasva. The Mata Eva, that means the only mother, knows how to protect her children. Putra means Putra and Kanya both together. It's just a symbolic. A mother knows how to protect her children, exclusive way, not the father, not the brother, not the grandfather. A mother species is chosen to specially care for the human babies, the human beings, everybody, not even the human. Mata means all, universal mother, all species included. So Mateva Putrancha Rakhyasva Srischa Pragyascha Videhina Dehi. Sri means affluence, Pragya means wisdom. So, O Mother Universe, please bestow us with universal resources, with the universal infinite wisdom, so that we can be a resource to take care of this planet, to take care of this universe, to take care of this life, and right now, to take care of this pandemic, coronavirus. So friends, it's very, very important aspect to meditate upon the power of motherhood. That is why we practice this Pranashakti love in the heart to enhance the quality of the mother. In subsequent time, probably next week, I will also introduce a series of meditation that I have designed, which will invoke the mother's heart, your own mother's heart, and connect to all the mother's heart together, and then create a network of Pranashakti all around the globe, which will be a very powerful tool to help us overcome this battle. So I'll introduce a series of 30 days of meditation. I'll talk more about that next week, and that will help you not only to protect you spiritually, but also to nurture your mind with all the subtle qualities that we talked about, all the 20 values of yamas and niyam I'm talking about. We will introduce each concept for one day, and we'll try to bring that awareness of those truthfulness, honesty, loyalty, love, compassion, forgiveness, for mindful eating, all the different values that we need to nurture our mind, to nourish our mind, to feed our mind. One more fact that I would like to talk about is mother is so special in terms of bringing the possibility of universal harmony. It's about every mother is connected. My mother is connected to her mother biologically, because without her mother, my mother would not have been born. And her mother, my grandma, is connected to her mother, my great-grandma. My great-grandma is connected to her mother, great-great-grandma. Isn't it? Biologically, the bloodstream has been flowing. So if you just stretch this imagination a little longer, maybe you can stretch for thousands of years, thousands of these generations, and mother to mother, the bloodstream has been flowing constantly without any interruption. So the mother's network is very universal. It can lead to probably at one point of time, if you all do the same exercise, you'll probably meet together with one mother. We all find our own origin or genesis of human beings into one womb. And in fact, that womb is called Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb of the universe. Because we, as a global consciousness, are not just limited to the human body. And sometime I'll talk about how many different species live in our own body itself. We have less human cells than alien cells in our body. Many, many more times. You won't even know, you can't even imagine how many colonies of things that is there in our own body. How much of time, probably, if you look at the age of those viruses, bacteria and biomes, they're like billions of years of age in your own body right now. Because of this continuity of the bloodstream that is happening from mother to mother for a millennia or more than that, for generations to generations. And that is why probably the yogis knew about this concept, and they talked about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole universe is one family. We all are connected to each other. Not just human beings, every species. Like one of the analogy that I always give in my classes is like if you think about your cell, your body has got 70 trillions of cells, a number that scientists have come up with, 70 trillions of cells. And now the biologists are talking about there are 10 times more biomes or the bacterial and viruses in your body. That means 700 trillions of bacteria and viruses in our body. Now think about 700 trillions is a big number. We've got only 7.8 billions of population of human beings in this planet. You think about that number versus 700 trillions of this. Probably that many species are there in the universe or more. Probably, I don't know what is the total population of the entire species in the entire universe. Probably more, maybe 21 to the power 21. Because in Atharva Veda, I have talked about this number of 7 and 3. So 3 and 7 multiplication, probably 21 to the power 21. I don't know what a number would come. But invariably, if you look at every cell in your body is a conscious cell. We start a journey with one tiny cell, and it becomes trillions of cells over a period of time, 9 months in our mother's womb. So now if you think about every cell in our body is a representation of the life. So we are a microcosm of the entire universe. Just like the universe has got different species, plants, animals, human beings, tigers, lizards, bats, all the wild animals and flowers and all the different things that you can think about. Everything could be also analogous to a cell in a universal body. So if you think about the universe as a whole body, we are also individual cells in that universal body. So I'm a cell, you are a cell, she's a cell, she's a cell. Everybody just a tiny cell. Because, it's very interesting. Like when you study quantum physics, quantum mechanics, it's so interesting. There is no difference between the smallest of the smallest particle and the biggest of the biggest particle. It all meets one. So anyway, so those are kind of things that I'm going to explore more in future talks. But today's topic is about global harmony. Through mother's unconditional love, we can possibly design a possibility of a global harmony. So when you think about our own mother and the network of mothers in the world, in the universe, and try to meditate for some time, probably we can design the possibility of a universal harmony where people can understand the concept of coexistence, cohabitation. That is why it is so important to teach these concepts of the Vedic wisdom to our children. I know there was a question today, is it a possibility that we should think about, our children going to a conventional school versus going to a Vedic school? Because both are, right now, whatever the Vedic schools that they are very rare, but they are also equally expensive. But I think at least they will have a better life. I've been thinking about that. Probably right now we have a graduation or we have a graded plan, like a step-by-step plan for that. Maybe the present economy, the present industrial evolution, the present mindset of the human being may not appreciate the concept right away because it has taken longer time human being has taken to see this expansive growth of the material world, objective world. It will take some time. But interim, meanwhile, if we can think about a online school, which I'm going to propose to educate our children in our own homes, start with right away. Talk about this basic concept, the yogic psychology, the Vedic concepts of life, the universal harmony, all the Upanishads and Vedas, which gives the lifespan education. Because without understanding the subjective world, without understanding who we are, if we just learn about the objects in the world, without knowing our own self, is it a fulfilled life? No, right? You know everybody. You know everything. But at the end of the moment, you realize that I didn't know myself. So if you don't know yourself, what's the big deal of knowing everything else? So definitely we have to think about it, it's a serious matter, and then we must do that in our own capacity and create a network of these concepts in every family. Like they say, the charity begins at home. We can do that. So I'm going to propose a universal school where all the like-minded people who are connected to this talk, or even in the future, we'll probably do a network, and then every day for 1 or 2 hours, we will introduce a course of understanding this true nature of our own self. Where is happiness? How happiness happens? What is our mind? How our mind functions? What's our intelligence? What is that mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara? All the different concepts are so powerful, right? So definitely we should spend a global fund to create these courses and try to disseminate as much as possible, and at the same time try to create these physical schools and ashrams kind of things as much as possible in some time. So obviously, it's a rethinking moment for us. I would like to end up my talk because time is coming to an end. I will explore these questions a little bit more in my next talk. But right now, I was just thinking about as an afterthought about this. I will talk also about the viruses more. But if you all know that virus is a quasi-dead entity, like it's not having a full life, like it remains like a crystal for many, many years until it finds its own host when it becomes live again. And then viruses are being used for, genetical modifications of grains, of vegetables, of different kind of livestock and stuff like that. So if human beings have the power of using virus as a medium, as a delivery mechanism to genetically modify a particular gene, a protein in our DNA and RNA, is it possible? Just like if suppose, for a benefit of doubt, think like if COVID-19 was a designed virus in the lab. So they had specially designed this virus to go and do certain functions. Just like in a computer world, somebody could design a virus or hack a virus. So likewise, is it possible to do some virus, for the lack of word I'm using the virus, to enhance love, compassion, peace, harmony and positivity into the human heart? As a sense of humor, I would say from COVID-19, maybe you should talk about LOVID-20, the love virus, infectious, not disease, but divinity. So it's a virus that creates infections for love and harmony in the human heart. Maybe it's not LOVID-20, maybe it's called LOVID-21, because at the age of 21, just like forever 21, we'll have a beautiful heart filled with a lot of compassion, a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of love, and then maybe all the hearts will be infected with this love and compassion to create a different humanity. We call it a human 2.0. So that's the possibility. Let's take 1 minute to keep the eyes closed, keep your palms together. As usual, we practice Prana Shakti as the universal mother's unconditional love in our heart present with every breath. Take 5 times chanting of the Prana Shakti. And every out breath, again chant 5 times in your mind. And try to feel the presence of a subtle light in your heart. And as you talked about the mother's network, just for a moment think about connectivity from your heart to your mother's heart and from her heart in whatever way that you can think about. Doesn't matter whether the mother is physically present or not. Just the concept of the heart connecting all the hearts of the world or the universe. A network of Prana Shakti all around the globe, all around the universe, to create a protective sheath for everyone, which has the power to absorb this virus, destroy it in her womb totally, and shower the grace of love, harmony, wisdom, compassion, kindness, trust, loyalty, intelligence, patience. Everything that you can dream about is being showered onto us. I would definitely encourage you to extend such meditations, even for 5 minutes here and there, every hour. Just take a moment to close your eyes and go inside. And every day, all of us, if we do it 10-15 times here and there, it will create enough positive pockets of consciousness which will spread around the entire planet, entire universe, and burst into the shower of bliss. With that, friends, let's complete this practice. Keep your eyes still closed. Let's complete this with the peace prayer, Shanti Mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So the meaning of this prayer, may everyone in this universe be healthy and safe. May everyone see things auspiciously and goodness in others. May there be no disharmony, no miseries, no unhappiness, no infection with anybody. May there be peace, may there be peace, may there be peace. Namaste.